All right. Hello, all of my sick Minecraft gamers. What is going on? I'm back from work a bit late, so bear with me on the latency and everything. And I'm doing this like 4 hours after the actual update released, so I guess you had Potato McWhiskey to tide you over. But we have this is the biggest patch in like Civ 6 history. So look at all these changes we got. Just look at them. Look at them. That's a lot of fucking changes, man. Jesus Christ. That is a lot of changes. Okay, and let me know if my sound is working too, because look at all these changes. Alright. That is a lot of changes. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna be critiquing the devs a bit here. But we do have a bit of changes, especially to Russia. So I think we have, hello, salty squids. I think we have a few changes here I want to go over with, but first of all, thanks for all of you who helped me to take it to 500 subscribers, and just wanted to give out that little thank you, shout out to everyone who subbed and viewed and just liked and helped support the channel. I am going to be having, like, I think a Kume Let's Play. It really depends on what you guys want to see in the chat. I haven't really played as Cambodia, or I think the Khmer, the Kume, the Kumai, whatever have you. It's one of those civs where the pronunciation is kind of weird, kind of like with Qin Shi Huang, though he's not a civ, but you get the idea. So, I think we're just gonna break into the patch and talk about some things. This will be a fairly chill stream, and I hope my actual, I think my actual screen is fairly high quality, so we'll see what goes on. Okay, but first of all, we have 3 new units, the Trebuchet, the Men-at-Arms, and the Line Infantry, all focused on the mid to late game, mostly the mid-late game, like the mid-game where you start at Medieval, and then I think kind of ending around Renaissance or Industrial with Line Infantry. But the Medieval era specifically and the Renaissance kind of were lacking some detail. I guess with the Renaissance you had the musketmen, but the Medieval era you kind of were lacking. So we got a much requested siege engine with the Trebuchet. Everyone was requesting that since vanilla, so long overdue, but I'm kind of glad they went over that. I think they even hinted that all the way back before Portugal. All right, my dog, I'm going to kill him. If you have a coonhound, you know. But, okay, 3 viewers, not bad. Anyhow, I guess this is kind of a bad time to do the stream, because everyone is in the game testing things out, but, thank you all for tuning in. So I guess we can quickly analyze these. I really don't play with medieval warfare too much, or just warfare in general. But this is going to be really nice just for pacing, because you had to upgrade from catapult to bombard, and you were skipping a whole era, because I think the catapult was the classical, and then you had to wait past medieval into the Renaissance for the bombard. So that was a bit of a wait, so it's a lot nicer. Kind of continuing along with the vein of Gathering Storm, where they introduced like 7 new units or something, like with the coursers and the cavalry. Everything got a rework. I am a bit disappointed that we're not getting any kind of horse archer, but I mean, I guess that's somewhat of a unique unit, so they want to preserve the sack of horse archer and all that stuff, so oh well. But we also got a much needed Swordsman Upgrade with the Men-at-Arms. Interesting name for that, because it's kind of similar to a militia, and I don't know if Man-at-Arms is correct, because things like swordsmen or units like swordsmen are kind of like a trained class, where I think of Men-at-Arms, I mean, it's like kind of like Minutemen. They're at the ready. So I don't know if that's a good term, but I mean, I'm not going to like fret over it. I'm not one of those people. Anyhow, I'm just glad that we have something to kind of space out the medieval era, kind of like with the Trebuchet. And it's also, look at all these units that are getting this. Like the Kevsur, the Legion, even the Ngao Mbeba, which is fairly good. I guess the Hospice didn't really need this, but all of these units now have a lot more viable pathing. So the Geisete is also upgrading into that. That's going to be really good, because you had to wait until Musketmen, I think, for the Geisete. So you're going to get that much faster. So the Geisete is really going to be useful throughout all of the time you have it until that promotion, which is going to be very, very nice. Already, they were one of the best units. So we have 4 viewers. Wow. Okay, now we have 3. I angered someone. Anyhow, I think that's all the units. We can briefly talk about the line infantry. They have upgraded not as much as the men-at-arms, but they're kind of changing with the Conquistador, which really needed to change. And the Janissary, not so much. And is my audio okay? Just testing this out here. I think my audio is okay. But if my audio is too quiet or too loud, please let me know and I'll try to adjust that. But I think this is okay. So replacing this unit. Okay, the Guardia Imperial kind of needed something. I don't think the red coat really needed anything. But going to be some nice balance changes. England is honestly fine. They've changed England and the Cliffs of Dover. I don't know what it is about that cursed island, but they've got so many changes. Scotland too. It's just kind of ridiculous. So I'm glad that we can finally put them to rest. Anyhow, we do have 4 new maps. Wowzers! Really, this is like the biggest patch we've ever had. I'm like not even joking. I'm not on anything. I'm a bit tired, but I'm not. I'm not on any substances when I say that. Mediterranean large map, I really like that, especially since it's large. And then we get a huge Earth map. People were playing YNAMP for that, so really, really good that we got a huge Earth map. And then TSL Earth huge, good as well. This is kind of just like one big map. These are kind of just like 2 maps, 4 maps, or 2 maps spread out into 4. So I guess I'll give them the 4 maps though. I mean, that's just still a significant amount of work that the devs put into the game, so... thank you so much, devs. And now we have new game updates. Finally, we're on to the Civ Changes. Just look how long this is. That is a lot of Civ Changes. They even changed Vietnam, too. That's interesting. Let me actually count and see if it's 2/3, because I just want to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. God, the Inca were fine. Oh, my God. Devs, what are we going to do with you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Geez, Spain got a lot. 25, 26, 27. So we had 50. Did we have 50 civs? How many civs are in this game? I think it's like 52. So that's almost half. Maybe 60. How many civs are in? How many civs? I just want to look this up. Civ 6. No, that's completely wrong. There are a lot of civs in Civ 6, so I'm not going to do the math. I'm not going to bore you guys. Anyhow, we got a lot of changes, so I'll just break into that. Starting off with the Aztec, they changed the Tlachtli. I'm not pronouncing that right, but whatever. It now gets +2 culture, so that's going to be interesting. Another +1 culture, right? So the base game, they had one culture, and then Ryzen. Okay. So I guess they're counting the New Frontier Pass as this. I'm not too sure. But that's going to be an interesting change. I guess because it's going to help them keep up more with civics, though I was really hoping the Aztecs would get an alternate persona, like maybe something like Itzcoatl for Montezuma or some kind of persona. Not to be confused with Persona 5, but the personas were like Catherine de Medici or Magnificence Catherine and Rough Rider Teddy, something like that for Montezuma, where he could have a more passive focus and get some lake bonuses. Would be really nice if he could even build on lakes, though that is a bit ambitious. Though Catherine de Medici did get some unique interactivity with the chateaus, so... Also, Australia, already starting really controversial with the changes here. They did not need another upgraded start bias. Australia was arguably the most busted civ in the game, even more so than Russia, just because they didn't care about holy sites. I mean, with Russia, you start in the Tundra, so there's that, and their ability is kind of being wasted just to make Tundra slightly better. Preserves kind of changes that, but even with Australia, it's just completely bonkers how they function. So they've always just been busted, and they did not need to be made even more broken. So Canada, though, needed some buffs here. The Last Best West, increased yields of mines and lumber mill. That is going to be really, really good. It's not going to be up, but it's going to be good. And then camps get +2 food. Farms give +2 food. It's going to be really good. It's going to make Tundra, I think, slightly better than the base game. You can fact check me on that, but I think it's going to be slightly better. You are going to have to invest a builder charge with that, though Magnus should make that, or Liang, I think, should make that a bit easier for you, since she gives 1 extra builder charge. And then speaking of builder charges, China now has Dynastic Cycle, and they get a random Eureka and Inspiration when they start, what is this? Receive a random from the Era of the Wonder. Okay, so I think this is trying to say when you time, I think I heard this from the stream too, when you time the wonder correctly during that era, it's going to give you the Eureka and inspiration. So it's giving China a bit more nuance, and it's going to be interesting. I thought this was just a flat buff, so whenever they build a wonder, they get Eurekas and inspirations, but it's nice to see there is, again, a bit more nuance with that. I'm going to take a quick water break, though. Scusi, and we have 7 viewers. Okay, I must be doing something right, or people are really bored. Anyhow, they buffed the chateau, or the le chateau, if my français is correctement. Anyhow, they gave the chateau +2 culture and +1 gold as the base. And then what was the chateau originally? Let me just fact check this. Chateau Civ 6. Okay. So the vanilla Gathering Storm, did they recently change this? I don't know if they did. They're fairly active on the wiki, but it was originally just +2 culture, and then I guess it has a base buff now. So, okay, +2 with flight, and then you get additionally, I don't think they originally gave +2 gold for being on a river. So that is going to help a bit with France in buying builders to kind of get their chateaus up, to kind of just snowball there. And then they can't be placed next to another chateau. I don't know if they originally had that restriction earlier. No, they didn't. So that is going to be a bit more restrictive. It might even penalize Catherine de' Medici Magnificence, just because she really likes to prioritize chateaus and cluster them around the luxuries. So that may be a bit crippling to her, actually. Those kind of going to balance her out with Black Queen Catherine. So I'm going to have to see how that kind of plays around, and we'll just have to see how that goes. But Georgia, this is actually a controversial one for me, because they kind of, I don't know what they were doing here, because they got rid of the Protectorate War bonus. They had a hard-on for that during Rise and Fall. And then now they have something like Faith equal to Combat Strength, which is really it's very contradictory. Because if you look at Georgia, I mean, they're unique as a wall. So you're not getting Faith kills from that wall, I don't think. Right? Combat victory. So I don't think that's given from walls. You might have to fact check me, but I don't think you're getting the faith from the wall kills. I just don't think that's how that's working. So maybe you can lure them into the walls if that's the case, and then get the faith. But Georgia was kind of already defensive, so I don't know why you'd want to go on the offensive and just start racking up faith kills, especially since you're going to be warring against city-states, which is contradictory to Tamar's ability, because you want to proselytize and send missionaries out to get envoys. So that's kind of weird. I don't know if that's going to make Georgia better. I was really hoping for a simple bonus, like increased production, or you could, like, faith buy city center buildings, like the sewers and the granaries, to get your cities up super fast. Wouldn't really make them a game-breaking civ, but it'd at least help them get things up faster, like builders and whatnot. Maybe you could even faith buy builders, though. I think that's already like a policy or a inspiration, or a not an inspiration, a dedication. So really weird with that change. I don't know if that's even going to help, but they changed Germany's start bias. Like, what the hell are you people thinking? And I think the higher the tier, the more incentivized they are. Like, you should have been changing the Maya's start bias. Okay, you did change the Maya's start bias. So, okay, I can't really say anything, but you shouldn't have been changing Germany's start bias, and you shouldn't have been changing Australia's start bias. Like, Jesus Christ, what is going on over there? I really don't mean to sound pretentious, but these civs were already arguably the most busted ones in the game. Germany, because you can get Hansa porn, and get like insane +12 production sites easily, because the bonus resources give some super easy production. And then Australia, because you don't even need to try. You can just automatically sim city since you start near coast and get some extra appeal. So it's just insane. And then even if they have shitty appeal, they can still theme next to mountains and stuff like that. So Australia, insanely versatile. Germany, also insanely versatile. They just need rivers to get things up. Australia, just coasts. And they did not need any changes. In fact, they probably could have used some nerfs. Like, namely, the Outback Station was op as hell. It still is. You can just terraform anything like it's effing like Mars Simulator or like Surviving Mars. Just plan out Outback Station down, and you have like 2 food and 2 production instantly. And then I know it comes a bit late, but it's still pretty broken. And then you get Germany with the Hansa, which comes at like the medieval era, and you get insane production. So we did not need buffs for Germany or Australia. So I guess it really just is coming from a lot of people bitching about Russia, but not Australia. So, oh well. It is what it is. I guess I can at least play Russia a bit more now. Though they did change Greece around. Greece, though I guess Gorga will be griefing people a bit because 1 combat strength for every military policy card slotted is going to be pretty ridiculous. I think if we just check the governments over here, I think monarchy has the most military policy cards here. Yeah, 2. So going to be interesting there. It's going to be +2 combat strength. Not really too potent, but I think when they get democracy or communism, that's like +4 combat strength. So it is interesting, though it's not going to be really too potent. Maybe +2 combat strength would be a bit better. I don't know. Anyhow, great to see some people are still tuning in. So thank you guys still for supporting the stream and coming out. But we have the Inca. They did not need a buff either. What were you guys thinking with the Inca? Okay, they did not need a fucking... they did not need a buff, Anton. I don't know what you were thinking. Like, mountains... I don't know. It's not a huge buff, okay? Kapak 9, +1 additional production mountains is like negligible, but I was hoping another Civ would get some attention. The terrace farms did not need the +1 housing. Inca were already insane with preserves. I was hoping someone would say something about that, since they can work mountains, and mountains are always like breathtaking. So they did not need any changes. That's all I can say. Japan also did not need any changes. Devs, though, this might make Japan a bit weaker actually, because I think you'd ironically with Japan you'd want more of an insular start, since you want to place some districts out. Like something like a flat start, just to SimCity it up and really maximize those adjacencies. Because with Japan, if you didn't already know, they get buffs for adjacent districts, a standard adjacency buff instead of +0.5, thanks to Meiji Restoration. And I think there's also some changes to the Samurai too, isn't there? Yeah, I think they upgrade to the musketmen and they replace the men-at-arms. So that's kind of nice. Okay, another water break. I'm going to be taking them a lot because I've been yelling a lot today, just with my work. So, Kume, kind of been looking forward to that. But I'm kind of conflicted on these changes, to be honest, because I like the relic gameplay. It needed some fine-tuning. I think it would have been fine for the relics in the holy site, just to keep that relic gameplay, because it was kind of interesting. You could go for culture and religious victories at the same time. One of the few civs, the Kume were one of the few civs that you could do that, and just pretty fun to mess around with that. But I guess I like this new passive gameplay. I was hoping someone would get some changes to specialists. I guess the Kume is going to be the closest to that, with their culture per pop. But it was really interesting to see the relic gameplay, especially I guess I'm just kind of crushed that it was changed. I was hoping there'd be something different, but I'm not too opposed to the new changes. I think they're going to be interesting, particularly for a new Let's Play. So if you guys want to see me Let's Play any of these civs, like tomorrow, please let me know. I think any of the ones that got changes are up for grab. So if you see an interesting one that got some changes and you want to see me play it, please let me know. So, preferably if they're one of the civs that got a lot of changes, but I see the Netherlands got some changes too, so that was much needed. But let's just talk about the Kume in depth a bit. We have cities with an aqueduct receive +1 amenity from entertainment and +1 faith for every population. That is pretty big, actually. I didn't know about the faith for every pop. I knew about the culture for every pop, but not the faith. And then we have farms provide +2 food to an adjacent aqueduct and +1 faith. Would have been nice for production because you already have insane amounts of food. So I think this was a +1, but it got up to +2, and then they added the faith on top of that. So you're going to be getting hella faith. Probably a good idea to buy some districts with that for the Prasat. Maybe get Jesuit education for some extra science on the side, and get a really good combo deal with that. And then we have Monasteries of the King. Holy sites are granted a major adjacency bonus with rivers, a culture bomb, already had that, and then food equal to adjacency bonus. We did not have that. It just gave like 2 food, and then I think it did have the housing, but it's going to be really, really busted with River Goddess. Though you might not even need River Goddess. I don't think you'll need River Goddess, actually. I'll have to see about it. I think work ethic is really going to be the one you want to go for, though. And then finally, the Prasat is the huge change because that is going to be plus 0.5 culture for every population. So theoretically, if you had 20 pops, which isn't that hard to get with all these changes, you could get 10 culture, of course. And then the real kicker here is the tourism per turn. So not really just a passive victory. You're really going to be wanting to actively build farms to just get those pops up, which should be really fun to SimCity that. And just really kind of screw around with that. So that is like theoretically you could get plus 20 tourism for a 20 pop city, which kind of seems hard to get, but you could get plus 20 tourism and then plus 10 culture, and that really adds up. Like if you have 6 cities, let me just calculate this out real quick. If you have 6 cities and they are 20 pops, that means you could get 120 tourism and then 60 culture, I think, which could be pretty damn good. And that's not even factoring the tourism from your theater squares. So, Kume, I really want to play them, actually. Them, the Mapuche, the Maya, or Spain. I think I've already played Spain in a previous Let's Play. I might link that in the description. But I have already played them. I haven't played the Inca either. But they are kind of busted. It's not very fun to play busted civs like Australia, Germany, and the Inca. So I think we're already halfway done, though. Some of these changes are big. Some are kind of minor, like the start adjustments. So about what I was expecting, though I didn't think they would go as in-depth with the Mapuche as I did or initially presumed coming into this. So really glad to see that. The Congo got a bit of a change here. So relics, artifacts, and sculptures give +1 faith. And they removed Great Writers from his additional Great People points. I don't know if I agree with that. Let me just see his ability here. I haven't really played him in too long. I played him like, I think a few months ago, but Mvemba, where are you? Okay, so okay, plus 50% great artist. Okay, that is gonna sting a bit. So they removed great artists. Okay, I think they already great artists. They already changed that here, but that is gonna sting just a bit. Okay, yeah. I don't know why they did that. He was kind of fine. So he was like B tier. I really don't think the great writers needed to be changed. If it was such a big issue, you could move it to 25%. But kind of taking that out, since great writers were like the first source of great people you get, is kind of a fairly significant nerf to them. I'll have to see how it plays out, but a bit disappointed by that. But the relics, artifacts, and sculptures giving +1 faith, I guess, is an okay change. Faith and gold are like the least relevant currencies. I guess faith being the least relevant. So, I don't know. I guess it's good for if you want to go for a district buying strategy. But I don't think you can buy neighborhoods with faith. Though that kind of would be an interesting change for the Congo. Anyhow, the Koreans, they did not need a change, but they received a change. It's now going to be even more focused towards the Sayawan. They did not need that at all. Yeah. Is that even more food and more science? Okay, they did not need any changes towards the Sayawan. Korea was already like the most bland and basic civ. So the fact that they had like this little Who leader that like only people like in South Korea watching like a very limited edition TV series has heard of, compared to picks like Sejong, and I think even that general, it's kind of just like already bad like with that leader pick. But I mean, to go even further, you have like the Sayawan being like the primary focus of the Civ, so it's just there's like so little detail into Korea. It's just kind of sad. Just makes you wish they'd at least held off on Korea. I feel like they just put that in Rise and Fall for the memes and just to cause controversy to kind of boost the attention rise and fall got, but I'm just disappointed by that. I don't know. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, but I'm just disappointed a bit by Korea. So quick water break. Hold on. All right. Okay. All right. I think we can survive this. Okay. And then I have the unit balances. That is a lot of general changes. Okay, I think I can get through all these. It's not much of a stream if I just end it here, though. So let's just get to the Mapuche. One of the exciting changes, actually. People were talking about how Lotaro was one of the weaker civs. I mean, the Kemamul was, like, pretty damn good. I tried it out with my Let's Play. I didn't really play it to the end, but the Kemamul can be really insane if you know how to rack up your culture. Kind of the Mapuche's mainstay, but they changed how Tokui Alert works and Swift Hawk. And they added +1 production to Kemamuls. I would have preferred +1 food since they already have a ton of production from the mountains. But I guess this is to offset the mines, since you can't really build mines next to Kemamuls and make use of that extra hill spawn start bias, I guess. So the governors now provide extra culture and production. Was kind of hoping for something like +5% food at least, because it's going to be hard to get some big pop cities to kind of utilize Pingala with the Mapuche. So that's okay, but I mean, you kind of really want to work those Kemamuls as soon as possible. So something like +5% food wouldn't have been bad. But you get +10% combat experience now as well towards all units trained in the city. And then... Wait, so does this work like if you have a governor assigned in the city, you get +5% culture and all these bonuses towards each unit produced? I'm not too sure. Okay, and then this is to incentivize conquest. These numbers are buffed in cities that you conquer, basically. So cities with the 9 tiles as well as your governor gain +4% for loyalty, which is going to be huge. And then, well, it's going to be significant. And then Swift Hawk grants +10 combat strength when fighting free cities or civilizations in a golden or heroic age. But I didn't know free cities could go into golden ages. That is interesting. And then defeating an enemy unit within the borders of an enemy city. Okay, I think the loyalty is the same. But I think the loyalty, actually, it was a flat 20 loyalty before, but I think they added this little tidbit of extra information here. So additional, the loyalty is doubled if the enemy is in a golden heroic age. So you really want to surprise them during golden and heroic ages, especially once you get your Malone Raiders up. And then we already covered the Kemo buff. Okay. Korea is pretty good. I just have to say that. I think I ranked them like semi-god in my tier list. Let me just see Korea here. Korea Civ 6. Let me just go over their abilities here. So, +1 food, mines, +1 science. I'm kind of confused on the changes actually for the Seowan. But basically, Korea's, all of their bread, all of their stonks, as they say, is kind of invested into the Seowan because it's a flat +4 science, and you really want to go super wide with them, which is kind of funny because I think Korea was a tall Civ. Everyone was tall in Civ 5, but it was still like super tall in Civ 5. So kind of funny how Korea is much wider since you want to get those +4 campuses or the Seowans everywhere. And then the Hwacha is okay, but I think Korea's governor bonuses are also pretty good too. So going to be really, really good there. And you just really want to go wide with Korea and get those governors out super, super fast. So I definitely would say they're semi-god tier now. And then you said in one game I had the Eiffel Tower and Golden Gate Bridge, and my Kingdoms had 8 culture. Yeah, if you know how to max your culture, especially with like the Eiffel Tower and everything, even with Earth Goddess to kind of stack on that faith, it can be really, really good. Kingdoms are super, super slept on. I still think they're slept on, but hopefully as more people play Mapuche, they realize the true power of the Kingdom. Star Wars memes. But the Maya have actually received a change here. The farms now receive +1 production for every adjacent observatory. And then Ix Mutala Jal, not too sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but non-capital cities within 6 hexes still receive a free builder. Interesting change. I was hoping the hex radius would be increased to 8, but the huge change here is start biases because I think they reduced the yeah, coast spawn bias. That is going to be really, really big. And then, yeah, they reduced the tundra and desert changes, which I think tundra and desert should be reduced for their attraction. Like, I don't know the correct terminology for this, but I think they should reduce the spawn rate for tundra and desert starts for every civ except for like the Mali, the Canadians, and then the Russians. It's really counterintuitive, and those starts are super, super crippling, and they're not just fun to, I guess they're fun to mess around with like 1 or 2 times, but in general, they're kind of annoying. They gave Mongolia a little change. I don't think they really needed a change. They were already pretty strong, kind of like Scythia. That's going to be controversial, but we'll see the Scythians in a bit. Anyhow, they get extra XP to siege units, so now they can screw you over even more so. And then the Netherlands, Radio Oranje, I know I'm pronouncing that correctly, but the domestic trade routes now provide +2 loyalty per turn, and then sent or received trade routes from a foreign civilization grant +2 culture. That's still like nothing. That's still not really too big. I guess you can say it's doubled, but I really don't think that's going to be too big. Yeah. As long as you're not buffing your enemies, like kind of with the Portuguese, but I guess it's okay. But they did change Nubia, so kind of disappointed with the Netherlands. I mean, Radio Oranje, okay. It's so-so. It's better than it was beforehand, but it's still meh. Nubia has changes, actually. I think they did need some changes because the Tassadi Rush was so potent. It's kind of like a work of art, something you'd see out of like a Shakespearean tragedy, just how quickly the Nubians could set up and screw your cities over. It was just beautiful. Couldn't do it any better myself. But the rush was, I'll just say it right here, right now, it's just, you could pull out some insane bullshit with the Tassadi Archer Rush. I think it could even be reduced to 25% production, but 30% is fine. It shouldn't be as bad now. But a big change actually is the +2 faith and +2 food. It used to be +1 faith and +1 food, and Nubian pyramids were pretty damn bad. Now they're a bit better, so that's great to see. And I think I'm happy with Nubia's changes. Now we have the Ottomans. I didn't think they needed a change, but we got +1 governor title from gunpowder. That's okay. And then I think Niter actually being a tier 5 start bias. So I was right, actually. Tier 5 is an increased start bias, so I'm not going insane. Anyhow, the tier 5 bias for the Ottomans should be about a bit better because I think they had some rough starts, though I think they also have a coastal bias too, so we'll have to see how that factors out. And then they actually nerfed Persia. I don't know how I feel about that. I think they were perfectly fine. Kind of bummed about that one. Poland also, what did they have? What is this? Taking territory from a foreign city with a culture bomb converts it to the majority religion. So how does that actually work? I'm kind of confused on the wording here. Taking territory from a foreign city with a culture bomb converts it. Who's majority religion? I'm actually kind of confused. Chat, do you know what they're talking about here? Not too sure about the wording here. If anyone's actually had the chance to play around with Poland. I don't know, we might get back to that. I'm not kind of confused about that. So, okay, I think I actually, maybe they're talking about if you don't get to a religion as Poland, and then someone converts you, and then you start, I guess, using that religion. I guess that's how it kind of works out here. But we have 8 people, so thank you guys for tuning in. Actually, someone just dropped out. But we got up to 10 people, so thank you guys for tuning in so far. And I think we're almost done with the actual civs, and then I'll get on to the other changes here. But if you guys want to see me play any of these civs again, please let me know in the chat. And I should have like the first episode of a new Let's Play out tomorrow. But if you want to see me play Spain, the Maya, the Mapuche, the Kume, any of these guys, please let me know. So next we have Russia. Very controversial thing here. Contentious, I guess, would be a another good adjective for that. Is contentious an adjective or an adverb? I think it's an adverb. Anyhow, we have Mother Russia being changed. Kind of a meme name for Russia's ability. But anyhow, Mother Russia has reduced the number of free tiles in new cities to 5. Was really ridiculous and just annoying in general to deal with AI Peter. So that is great to see. And then we have the Lavra moving the Great Rider Point to the Shrine. Okay, I think this is actually... I say actually a lot. I'll have to reduce that. But this is, in reality, a good change because now you just don't get those great artist spam, kind of lagging the game, especially with how prone Russia is to spam cities. This should hone them in a lot more. So I guess people were calling for Russia nerfs, but I think we're not calling for Australia nerfs. Those pesky fans. Anyhow. Scythia, they did get a buff to the Kurgan, +1 faith, +3 gold, and then +1 faith for adjacent pasture, +2 faith with stirrups. And tourism from faith, I don't really think the Scythia would ever go for a tourism victory, but maybe it's just better if you have some really culturally dominant civs like Sweden and Russia. So if you're going against the aforementioned Russia here, I guess that would be good. But I mean, the Kurgan it'd be fine with extra production. I don't think the faith is needed. Faith again is really just a useless currency, unless you have some religions or you're going for a religion in general, which not everyone really does in this game because religions are capped. So, Scythia would not really have any need to go for that, but whatever. Spain definitely getting the most changes out of this, saving the best for last year. But looks like they nerfed Vietnam too. I'll get onto that later. But Treasure Fleet may form fleet and armadas with mercantilism. We already know that, I think. And then, they can form fleets earlier, but now trade routes receive +3 gold, +2 faith, and +1 production. That was not there before. And then, trade routes. I did not see this one, actually. Trade routes between multiple continents receive triple these numbers. So you could get up to, +3 production, +9 gold, and +6 faith. That could be really, really good, especially if you could get a religion up as Spain, which I think they're trying to make this a bit easier to do. Or if you just steal someone's religion with like Jesuit education or something like that. But cities not on your original capital continent receive +25% production towards district and a builder. Really, really good when founded. And then El Escorial, Inquisitors can remove heresy 1 extra time. Already had that. I think we already had the 100% pressure. And then I think this bonus is new. Not too sure. And then all rule sets now feature the buffed Gathering Storm version of the mission. +2 faith additionally, +1 food, and +1 production. If on a different continent than your capital. Missions were always super underrated. And then the +1 science for campus and holy sites is really good. Yeah. So you can really stack those. Really, really good. Spain, definitely a solid B or maybe even an A tier civ now. And then they remove this coastal start bias, which is kind of weird because you'd want to start your navies up early and then start sailing around. But it's still pretty good. Geothermal is going to be a really nice addition, though. And then we have our last 3 civs. I think Spain was probably the biggest changes. Spain, or the Spanish, the Maya, the Mapuche, and then the Khmer. Definitely got the biggest changes. And then we have Sumeria, Vietnam, and then the Zulu. So Sumeria, +5 combat strength to units when they and their ally are at war with a common foe. Was hoping that this would get a change, or the Sumerians would get a change to the Ziggurat. Yeah, I didn't notice that. That is actually a good point. There is no India change. Let me actually, thanks for mentioning that. I appreciate that. So with the Indians here, Chandragupta was actually pretty good because you could get an early Varu rush. Outside of that, he kind of lost his identity past the classical era since the combat strength isn't really that potent. But the Varu are still really fun to play with since they were one of the few, not now, but they were one of the few elephant units in the game. So kind of unfortunate, but they're really fun to play with. And then they have that zone of control, I think, or they ignore it. And then Gandhi got some changes in Gathering Storm, but I think the Stepwell really needed some changes. I think Indians' populations needed some changes too, but this helped you get a huge pop. But I'd like to see something to be changed, like with Specialists with India, like maybe they could produce Science or Faith, The Stepwell is kind of just a disappointing improvement here. Just food and faith, not really useful. Maybe if they could get like some kind of soft buff towards population like the Kume, that would really help them get far. Both Chandragupta and Gandhi. So, yeah, bummed about India's changes here. But we have two more civs left. We have Vietnam. So the Chen no longer provides a great general point. Not really, I don't really care about that. Vietnam is still kind of busted with their elephant unit. I forget what it's called, but it is really good. We abused that in our Let's Play. If you guys want to check that out, it should be in my playlist section. And then we have the Zulu. This is actually fairly significant because the Isibango now gives some gold and science. Really nice. And then Moksha's base ability grants +2 faith for every specialty district in a city. That's going to be nice too with the Kume. I'll have to try those out. And then we have some melee changes. But those are the civ changes so far. And then I can go over some of the other changes if you guys are interested. But it's really nice to see these changes. I think I'm most excited about the Maya, and I guess Spain is okay. Not really. I never really played Spain too much. The Maya, the Mapuche, and then the Kume. They were the people always knew them as the weaker civs. Kind of memes or the buttons or the jokes in the community. But now they at least have some pointy sticks to go around with. So especially, yeah, I guess all of them are a lot better now. But those are the civ changes. Let's talk about the units balance as well. So kind of some changes around with infantry. I guess, yeah, they decreased swordsmen, but they increased infantry. They kind of give the swordsman replacement some edges here. Yeah, like the Ingao and Beba is a lot more potent now. Has a edge right here, a +3 combat strength edge over here, and I think the Janissary also gets that. And then they increased the Hippospis combat strength. Ooh, I think they mentioned that in the patch notes. They did not mention the immortal strength though. Interesting. So 35 to 25, they're a lot more potent for melee combat strength, and then the Toa also got its combat strength increased. They did not need that. Definitely did not need that because they already had their buildable fort. The Pa, which healed additional for additional hit points, did not need that. And then the Kev Sur had a buff. They needed that because they were all kind of just the black sheep of the unique units. So they'll be a lot more valuable, and maybe you can even make use of George's new faith ability. The Conquistadors also had +3 combat strength buffs. And then, okay, they had the religious buff. Okay, so that was just their kind of minor buff, +3 combat strength. So that's nothing to scoff at. It's going to be good, I guess, the more units you have to kind of make the most out of that change. And the Guard Imperial actually got a huge change. Now it's 70 combat strength. I'm not sure if that's because of the new units, but that also is applied to the Redcoat. And then the Digger gets, God, what is it with these people in Australia? Gets +6 combat strength. Jesus Christ. The Samurai, though, I think they were unlocked earlier. That is nice. And ranged machine gun changes. We got some siege changes. The Domre specifically has been changed to the Trebuchet. So they got a huge combat buff. And I don't know if that's for just the Trebuchet, but they should be more potent. And I think they're unlocked at the same technology. So we have some anti-cav changes. Let me see if there's any notable ones here. MP combat strength. So MP rushes may be a bit more valuable. Or, I guess, realistic or viable. Yeah, viable is the word I'm looking for. And then some overall combat strength. Okay, changes. So Black Army got a combat strength buff too. Interesting. So did the Oromo Cavalry. Kind of odd. And then, okay, the Mountie did need some kind of buff, and it has, that's the big one, the additional National Park charge that is going to be really huge. And it's a lot cheaper. Holy crap. The Mountie is going to be one of the best units now. And now they have the Malone Raiders upgrading to Harry Cavalry. That is going to be huge too. So really glad to see some of these changes here. Are there any huge changes I haven't noticed yet? There are some pack changes. I'm not really too big on these unit changes, but Looks like people are dropping out, so I don't know if I want to talk about some of these other changes. Anyhow, tourism updates, cultural domination. Interesting. Let me talk about some of the packs real quick, and then I guess we can end it here. There's also a ton of bug fixes, so we'll have to see here, but where are the packs? General gameplay fixes, okay. Tourism updates. So the Red Death, I don't really care about that. I don't play with that much. And we have the Ethiopia pack. Vampires no longer receive the benefit of ignoring walls. Okay, that's a good change. And they fixed the issue where a notice would fail to appear during the second secret society. Okay, that's bug fixes, bug fixes. Hero combat strength has been adjusted. Sinbad's fortunes. Okay, they reduced that. That needed to be reduced because you could get some insane gold racked up. I kind of abused that in my Portugal game. Ooh, and the Prasat gets some bonuses towards the Heroes and Legends mode. That is nice. That is going to be really nice. Excuse me, water break. Okay, and then we have Vietnam and Kublai. Okay. You can't build industry improvements on volcanic soil. Ooh. Okay. Fix exploits. Increase spawn. New notification. Okay, I'm going to like that new notification. We kind of missed some flavor with city-states. And then they fixed a bunch of issues here. They had a ton of bugs with the barbarian clans. Okay. So, Portugal pack. The chance for a new zombie to spawn after a city attack is affected by the population of the city. I really didn't play with zombies, to be honest. I don't think I've ever actually... Let me think of this. I think I played with zombies once, but I've never really played with zombies too much just because there's like nothing to... It's just so boring. Outside of like the unique traps, of which there are only like 2. Just so boring. But I think this is the end of the patch notes. So if you guys did like the stream, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And let me know, just as I'm going, if you want to see me play any of the civs. Here we have the Aztecs, the Australians, and then the civs that got huge changes, like the Kume, the Canadians, and the Mapuche, the Maya, and the Spanish. So if you want to see me play any of these civs, tomorrow I should be having that Let's Play out then. But just let me know if you guys want to see any of that. And I think this is going to be the end of the stream. I don't know if you guys wanted to see me test out any gameplay. So I think that's it. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked, leave a like and subscribe. I'd help support the channel. We're almost at 600 subscribers. So thank you guys again for supporting me. And this has been Civic Extraordinaire. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.